Manisha, Priyam, can you give us your sense of whether prohibition has made things better for the people of Bihar, especially the women? Is it working as a policy, or do you think Nitish Kumar should just cut his losses, say prohibition isn't working, and find a way of doing away with this policy?
So, Rahul, you have to give me time. There's one side of the policy. If people have died and there's been illicit liquor, certainly nobody can deny that there is an implementation failure. But as far as the broad tenets of the policy are concerned, let me tell you that in August of 2022, as also in December of 2022, I've landed at the Patna airport and I've driven down to village areas of Saran. Even 10 or 11 at night, there's electricity, there are good roads, and there is no misbehaving of men on the road, right? So there's no denying the fact that there is a consolidation of women and there is a freedom from men. And remember, this is a very, very rural state. People are not civilized. They are not holding their drinks in an urban, upper class, posh drawing room. All the extra consumption of alcohol, ultimately it's the women who are suffering. The household incomes are small. Money is diverted away on alcohol. So by and large, although women do not speak up, remember they have been referred to as the chuppa voters, the silent voters. But women continue to back the policy very strongly, and Bihar does remain very peaceful. However, let me add and tell you here that a state like Bihar has not been able to implement it very well if this is how illicit liquor is flowing all over the place. So whether with Mr. Nitish Kumar's policy implementation ambitions are shared by the police or not, I do not know. The police administration certainly not with him on this policy measure. As far as the chuppa and silent voters are concerned, I can give you proof of the pudding that yes, it's been peaceful with electricity. So
you're blaming the police. Just one second. Let's get the former DGP to answer that question. I'm coming back to you in a moment. You're saying that Nitish Kumar wants the policy. The women of Bihar benefit from the policy, but the police of Bihar, which you ran, Mr. Abhayanand, isn't backing the policy's implementation, isn't doing their job. The police is corrupt, which is why this policy is a failure. Respond to that, Mr. Abhayanand.
Well, there are two aspects to this prohibition thing. As I have said earlier, the policy part of it, I stand by it. The other is there are certain crimes which are, as they say, social issues. For example, dowry, that's a social crime, social issue crime, which has to be distinguished from professional crimes like murders, or professional murders or kidnappings. So the police basically is trained to do this professional thing. This hooch, the prohibition aspect also has a professional angle. If you take up the economic aspect of it, then it becomes a very professional crime. And I had handled it the way I am telling you right now, without the Prohibition Act. So one of your speakers was very right when he said that you have to bring out other dimensions also. For example, awareness, sensitivity amongst the policemen. Now if a policeman himself is used to drinking liquor, how much do you expect of him when he is asked to go ahead and police the Prohibition Act? It's slightly, not very commensurate with.
No, but can I counter argue with Manisha, Priyam, to say
what I'm trying
that blaming the police is easy, but no matter where you do this, if you have a policy which itself is flawed, there will be some circumvention found, whether it is through the import of alcohol from neighboring states, whether it is through, it's just down to human behavior. It's not just the police. Blaming the police is easy. Maybe there is something deeper and more flawed with the idea of prohibition, that people simply don't accept it. They will find some jugaad solution around it.
So
I think you are very right when you say this.
Manisha, Priyam.
Yeah, the real comparator is that was illicit liquor being brewed in Bihar even when alcohol was permitted or not? My answer is yes. The problem here is that you have a very poor state, people get into this habit, even if the policy is flawed or whether it's in place or not, the real comparator will be that check out how many huge tragedies have happened. The real issue is that those who are brewing this illicit liquor have no care for human lives. We are talking about a state where the same Saran has something called Gandaman, where children of poor, backward caste families are fed a state-mandated midday meal, which is a very good policy, laced with some kind of poison. So you have a very bad situation where poor people lose their lives either in caste battles or in midday meals, which is a very good state policy, or in alcohol, which is poisonous. Now, whether alcohol is allowed legally or not, illegal hooch should not be brewed under any circumstances. And who is to bear the brunt for this? That is the real question. And I can tell you that for alcohol, when the quotas and thekas were distributed, ask anybody in Bihar, there would be firing at block offices. So, it was not as if that when alcohol was permitted, there was a sushashan happening in Bihar. The real situation is very, very different. The block level distribution of quotas, you have a former very respected policeman on your show, ask him these two questions as to whether what was the situation at block level offices.
Okay,
Political
so
parties would want
you
their
make an
men
important point.